Hi everyone, I'm Laura. Welcome to my MasterClass. I've just finished taking a course that is taught by the famous Kenneth. Be part of the Mad family and make a difference through singing and dancing. Today, we're going to discuss about the topic of consumer behavior in this video. But first things first, why is consumer behavior important? In our current society, we have the internet, which houses a lot of online consumption communities. Also, we will often communicate with our friends and family over in-person communication over digital messaging apps. Some digital messaging apps include WhatsApp, WeChat, Messenger, IG, and more. Some of these conversations will often transmit product information and personal recommendations on where to use or avoid particular brands and products. These inter-consumer communications are often more influential than the advertisements that are posted in the format of television commercials, magazine front covers, or outdoor billboards. This is because a marketer can simply not warp a consumer's true feelings to a brand, nor control inter-consumer communications. Hence, many people will view these consumer opinions more credible than what is claimed on advertisement, just like how the negative word of mouth is considered to be more influential than the recommendations, because dissatisfied customers are simply far more likely to talk about their experiences than satisfied customers. Hence, with the rapid advancement in communication and transportation, consumers nowadays no longer follow a mass culture. Instead, they often shape their opinions and desires based on a mix of voices around the world. As a result, most consumers have their own unique taste or perspective. Subsequently, consumers will only purchase a product when they like a product's brand image or feel a connection with the product or brand that correlates with our own unique personality. This resonance is what triggers our buying intentions. Consequently, companies and marketers will just have to understand consumers to market their products more successfully and launch effective marketing campaigns. Therefore, the knowledge of consumer characteristics is extremely important nowadays in many of the product development phases and during the marketing discussion plans. Another benefit of learning consumer behavior is the allowance of using market segmentation strategies. Through the use of market segmentation strategies, company can now target its products and services or ideas to specific groups of consumers rather than to everybody. This means that they will no longer have to waste resources in targeting the mass market, given that most brands have clearly defined images or personalities that they portray. Now that we've gotten a better background about why we should learn about consumer behavior, I'd like to take this opportunity to share how we can use this knowledge of consumer behavior to decode the meaning behind customer motivation and involvement when buying products, as well as how they make decisions. By doing so, we could have a better idea on how marketers can make their marketing campaign more powerful and use their resources more appropriately to leave a lasting and positive impression on consumers' mind. Without further ado, let's start. We make a lot of decisions every day. No matter whether we're going out to determine what to buy, which transportation to get on, or so much more. We often need motivation before we act. But why is this the case? This is because motivation only occurs when a need that consumer wishes to satisfy arises. This could be a rational utilitarian need where the purchase is mainly for functional purposes, whereas it could also be a hedonic need, which is an experiential need which involves emotional response like for fun or arises from the fantasy for exploration. However, that is not the only factors that influence our decision-making process. There are other factors that will influence our decision-making process as well. For example, the degree of involvement that we would like to place in a product may vary based on its product nature, our frequency of purchase, and the price of the product itself. So from time to time, the type of consumer decision-making process that we're going through is affected by the type of decision that we're making. Commonly, there are 5 stages of a consumer purchase decision that an individual consumer has to go through. This process starts with the problem recognition, then conducting an information search, followed by an alternative evaluation, then a purchase decision, and lastly, we have the post-purchase behavior stage. This post-purchase behavioral stage is normally catered for after-sales service or advertisement to relieve customers of their cognitive dissonance when buying a product. But what is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance occurs when a consumer is buying a high involvement product, which is normally more expensive and takes more thoughts and analysis before purchase. Hence, after their purchase, they might have sudden feelings of uneasiness, tension, and subsequently from that, they will have to relieve this discomfort. Consumers can relieve this discomfort by explaining things away, rejecting new information that conflicts with their existing beliefs. Marketers could also help consumers relieve this cognitive dissonance through better after-sales service and advertisement. In doing so, consumers can see the associated product that they have newly bought to the one that is on the advertisement, so they think that they're the trendy ones and have made a smart purchase. While a superior after-sales service could give them adequate reasoning to buy one brand over another, because it provides assurance and a sense of security. Now, I know that all of this sounds very complicated, so let's take a real-life scenario to understand what is the general flow for a consumer decision-making process. On a random Sunday morning, Laura has been studying at home until she remembered her fridge is empty and she wants to bake a cake. So what is the action that she's going to take? Since my fridge is empty and I would like to bake a cake, I should probably go outside to buy the ingredients that I need. But before I leave, let me search online to see where I could get all the ingredients that I need without having to travel so far. See you after a few moments.
A few minutes later.
I just finished my research on all three grocery store companies, which are Welcome, Park & Shop, and Just Go. They all have the stuff that I would like to buy. However, after evaluating all of the factors, including the time it will take me to get there, the pricing of the products, and the brand of the products that they offer, and more, I've decided to go to my nearest supermarket, which is a Park & Shop Fusion, because it's close to my home and its product has the same pricing to other supermarkets as well, and I won't have to take extra time to get to it. Come on, let's go out together. We are now walking to a supermarket. We have just arrived at the supermarket. Wow, there are so many products. But let's scan the QR code before entering the supermarket. The supermarket has a lot of products. Some products on the shelf are products that I have to buy to sustain my basic needs, whilst other products are my wants. But how can we determine which products are needs and which products are wants? In consumer behavior, needs can include physical, social, and individual needs. Hence, products in a supermarket that cater for physical needs like basic functional food products would include products like poultry, rice, and more, as they serve biological and utilitarian needs. I need to have 3 meals a day and can't refrain from eating these food, or I will suffer from a lack of a certain nutrition. Whilst wants could be goods that I don't necessarily need, for example snacks, candy, and more. These could be considered as hedonic need, as I do not necessarily need it and it provides some excitement to me when I make these purchases. Now let's get back to shopping for what I actually need. I'm looking for flour. I just got what I need. I didn't have to take much time to select the flour that I want because I've done a comparison online prior to arriving to the store. Now let me walk back and drop it into my cart. Oh, I just bumped into a consumer that's shopping for a can of bologna. I've gotten her consent to record this video. As you can see in this short video, she starts by looking at all of the alternatives on the shelf. Then she utilizes her own mental evaluation matrix to determine which product she would be interested in buying. After that, she proceeded to take up 2 cans of bologna for comparison. During that time, her mind processed all of the information that led her to a resulting decision. The resulting decision is for her to buy only 1 can of bologna and then she left the shopping aisle. From this, we'll be able to see that consumers' decision process sometimes may not follow all of the structured steps listed in the consumer decision process framework. However, there's a general trend where the consumer must have a motive before selecting a product. Also, consumers tend to gather a degree of information before evaluating good. Then, when they evaluate the goods, the evaluation matrix contribute heavily to them making the final ultimate decision of purchase. Anyways, let's go back to shopping for now. Before I leave, I actually want a pack of candy as well. This is my want. Consider this as a hedonic need purchase. The motive for me to buy this today is because the candy is on discount, as well as the emergence of some emotional response when I saw the pack of candy. Hence, I'm buying this particular brand of candy and steering away from other brand because this is something that I've consumed since I was a child, giving the product some nostalgic and sentimental value to me. So I'm going to grab that too. Now I'm going to pay and try out all the products that I have chosen that I would like to buy. So I'm going to leave now. See you back at my studio. We're back, and now let's do a closer study on a scenario, just to get more information on my consumer decision-making process. For this scenario, the first 4 stages out of the 5 general stages of the consumer purchase decision process was actually followed. For our problem, we originated from a need or recognition situation where I was having insufficient ingredients. This means that my actual state was actually moving lower than my ideal state, which gave me the motive to purchase. However, the problem could also originate from an opportunity recognition standpoint, as well as exposure to different or better quality products. For example, if I suddenly found a better product, then I would have the motive of wanting something better. Then this would mean that my ideal state was moving upwards, prompting me to have a better actual state as well. Whilst the information search that I've done for this decision-making process was mainly based on a combination of internal and external deliberate pre-purchase search. This means that I recognized the need, then I went to search and solve my problem. I'm not conducting an ongoing search because an ongoing search would mean that I was browsing for fun or just staying up to date with what's happening in the market. Aside from that, I also had a combination of internal and external search. This is because I actually scanned my own internal memory bank for the information about the brand of product and flour that I would like to buy, whilst I also obtained product information from external website sources when I was searching for where I would like to shop. We just talked about information search. So if you're thinking one step further, you may question, then are consumers truly rational, and do consumers actually search in a rational manner? Well, the answer is marketers hope that consumers search rationally, but that is just normally not the case. The reason for this is because we don't have all the time in the world to acquire perfect information. Also, it is hard to define what perfect information really is. Hence, depending on your shopping background and knowledge, and how you search and the degree of search that you come up with would vary depending on who you are. Then, for example, if you're a variety seeker and you'll probably accept more alternative suggestions and search more widely. If you're a non-variety seeker, you might want to have a more structural search because you think that switching brands might have high costs. So, practically speaking, consumers are simply just not rational. Similarly, the evaluation criteria and the determinant attributes could be subjective from customer to customer. Therefore, through the market segmentation process, companies that identify a niche target segment can have a higher chance of predicting their consumer selection idea and thinking, as well as their determinant attribute to provide for that consumer's needs. Even so, there was still one fundamental difference between our consumer decision process today with the 5-stage consumer decision process, as we did not really have a 5th stage of post-purchase behavior. This is because the product that we bought was not particularly high in value, hence it's not considered as high involvement, and there's not much thinking or risk involved, and therefore consumer will have a low likeliness of having cognitive dissonance. Hence, companies are not that willing or leaning towards to having the eagerness to spend money and conduct high quality after-sales service and advertisement to relieve consumers of cognitive dissonance because it's simply unnecessary. Important to note was the type of consumer decision that I was making. This type of consumer decision would be considered as limited problem solving or habitual decision making process. But how many types of consumer decisions are there? Well, there are mainly three types of consumer decision, which are extended problem solving, limited problem solving, and the habitual decision-making process. So habitual decision-making process are basically choices that are made with little to no conscious efforts and emulates what I did when I tried to buy the candy. Whilst limited problem solving would be when I was looking for where to buy the flower I would like to purchase. I had a brand in mind, hence I wasn't particularly motivated to search for a lot of information or to evaluate rigorously. However, I still used the simple decision rules to choose where I would like to buy the product, which included some parameters of location, convenience, product pricing, and the product brand as well. Another good question to raise is, how would one's involvement towards a product be influenced? And how do we actually classify what is high and low involvement goods? Well, basically, our level of involvement could be influenced by one or a combination of personal factors, object or stimulus factor, or situational factors. More often than not, there are interactions between the three factors that I've just mentioned. So a good example would be based on my decision of buying the candy. It was originating from a more behavioral influence perspective. There were strong environmental forces that urged me to buy the product. This is a common consumer behavior phenomenon where promotional practices like price discount, rebates, coupon, loyalty program could be used to justify my hedonic purchase, as the promotion helps reduce my guilt from buying hedonic goods. Also, my level of involvement towards the product was affected by some personal factors of interest as well as situational factor of being in a supermarket, which is a purchase environment. To answer how we classify high and low involvement products is that the simple explanation would be that low involvement products tend to be inexpensive and day-to-day goods that one would have to use, whilst high involvement goods are products that are more expensive, and some high involvement goods like computer and branded bags might be used every single day, whilst other high involvement goods such as jewelry and perfume's use frequency might depend on the person. Thus, the high involvement goods is often bought for value expressive purposes. Therefore, to have a better understanding of how we can differentiate between high and low involvement product, we should take a look at the FCB grid. So the FCB grid was made by Food, Cone, and Belding. Food, Cone, and Belding is one of the big fours in the marketing industry and is a 4A agency as well. The FCB grid showcases how high involvement products, which requires more thinking, so could be something like a camera or a long-term insurance product, where customers generally learn and think about these products before they proceed to form a preference and consider buying or acting on their purchase intentions. While as perfume and apparels are samples of high involvement feeling products where the purchase process for these products are more affective based. So products are based on a feel, learn, act flow where the customer's emotion is primarily the biggest influential factor. Whilst low involvement thinking product would be mundane, habitual purchases including household consumables such as detergents and groceries. In these purchases, consumers tend to try out the product first before developing any evaluation and feelings. In contrast, low involvement feeling products are items such as snacks and candies, where a consumer would have a do, feel, and think approach, where rational evaluation comes after the self-indulgent act and the feelings at the moment. Based on all of the points that we've mentioned, as marketers, we would have to understand the consumers on how they're motivated by different things depending on the product category. Moreover, customers do not bring the same level of interest or attention to all product categories or purchases. Hence, a marketer who would like to make an impactful advertisement or campaign to stimulate the customer's buying intention must understand that the customer's motives for purchase as well as decision-making process that they follow. For example, a sales pitch would be effective in influencing a rational thinking purchase decision, but they are less persuasive with regards to a feeling decision or a low involvement purchase. Additionally, we should understand that various traits that our customers has would influence how they react. So some may be eager to try things while others may be more prudent and frugal in their purchases, where they avoid short-term purchases and resourcefully use what they own. Furthermore, a marketer could consider using consumers' degree of involvement as a benchmark to determine how to market their product, whether their product could trigger cognitive dissonance. Before ending my math masterclass today, some points to think about is how powerful consumer behavior is, how you can learn more about consumer behavior by observing your action as a consumer and everything around you in your day-to-day life. Let me know your takeaways and hope to hear your thoughts on this topic further in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, please give it a like and leave your comment down below. See you soon!